What up? What up? All right. No, we want to hide you. Uh, Hopefully, you're having a good night. Just sitting around here enjoying the beautiful weather and um, talk about public opinion and watch this dumb Survivor on TV. I can't believe the show's still on. But, anyways, public opinion. Public opinion polls are used for a variety of reasons. And obviously, right now, you see it used to measure who's leading in both the Republican and Democratic primary. Um, Types of public, when you say the word public opinion, there are a few different types. The elites are the ones that have a tremendous amount of political knowledge. I would call this political capital many times. They have access to the political process. They have a great deal of political efficacy, feel that they can influence the political process, etc. And oftentimes, these elite try to influence what kind of policy issue we're talking about at the national stage, whether it be the gay marriage debate, whether it be immigration with Donald Trump, etc. The attentive public are those that pay attention to government and politics, may not have a tremendous knowledge of the process of being elected or the process of trying to affect and pass laws, public policy. Um, I'm going to try to stop saying so much. Someone may, you know, um, keep a tally of how many times I say All right, enough fun. Um, oh no, I just said again. The mass is the part of the public that has little interest in politics, and that tends to be the majority of Americans. Most Americans pay little attention to government and politics unless it's an election season like we see now, where you have so much media coverage that individuals tend to be forced almost to pay attention. Types of opinions. So there are a couple types here. And when we talk about that, these are the issues. Some are change a lot, some don't. A stable issue changes very little, meaning people's opinions on the particular issues rarely change. Uh, if you are anti-abortion or if you are pro-choice, the likelihood of that changing over the span of time is not good. So those opinions tend to stay relatively stable, and the issue of whether or not you're for or against abortion it really hasn't changed over the years. Um, Fluid, what we're seeing now changes often. Presidential popularity with Barack Obama, his numbers for popularity have gone up and down. If we go to Real Clear Politics, we can see that the presidential approval rating for Barack Obama, we can look at a variety of ways. 2 years, it has gone up and down as high as 54%, 55%, as low as 49, and disapproval rate very close. So when you get that low, we're in a little bit of trouble. So presidential approval rating, what does it mean? Well, it certainly gives the president an idea whether or not he's going to get support from Congress on a particular issue. If his approval rating is really low, he's probably not going to get a tremendous amount of support because the people in the United States don't support him. Right now, obviously, we have gone over this a lot. The presidential candidates in both parties, their popularity goes up and down. We look at Scott Walker, who 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, was very popular for the Republican Party, especially in Iowa. And now all of a sudden he's down to 2-3%, 0.5% in the latest poll in Iowa, and he drops out. So these are fluid, they change. Think about a river. That river level goes up and down, up and down, up and down. A latent, think of it as laying low. A latent opinion is one that may be dormant. When you talk about the military draft, unless we are really fighting actively in a war, that issue isn't something that people consider. You go back to the Vietnam War, when we were drafting individuals in the war, people were really fired up on that particular issue. draft dodgers. Um, but that isn't an issue that is really, in the forefront of our public opinion right now. If we weren't at war with Iraq and the Middle East, um, that might not be an issue that many people would be caring about. A salient issue is an issue that is very, very important to you. So if you're a woman, the issue of abortion might be really, really important to you, salient. If you are living in northern Michigan and you're a hunter, the issue of being able to have a gun to hunt is a very, very important issue to you. It's very salient. If you are gay or lesbian, the issue of gay marriage might be very, very salient to you, very important to you. So some issues people don't really care about. Other issues they really do. Consensus is an issue that the majority of Americans would agree upon. Fighting terrorism, balancing the budget. These are issues that usually 70, 80% of Americans agree. There's not a lot of conflict in those particular issues. And polarizing, one of your vocabulary terms, means that polar opposite, there's not a lot of people in the middle on that particular issue. So you talk about abortion. Either you're pro-life or you're pro-choice. There's not a lot of people who are him-hawing around in the middle of that issue. Either you're pro-gay marriage or you're anti-gay marriage. Polarizing, meaning it often leads to conflict. It often leads to disagreement in the public. How do we measure public opinion? Oftentimes, this is most often discussed in regards to polling and elections. And we looked at some today in some classes. And you want a sample that is representative of the overall sample. So you're not going to talk to everyone in Iowa in regards to who they support for the Republican nomination. You're going to get, well, we saw the polls, usually at a state level, probably 500, 750 respondents. You want them to be a good sample. If we look back at Real Clear Politics, again, if you look here, you see we're only getting about 400 likely voters, LV, registered voters, RV. So hopefully out of that 300, 400 voters that are being interviewed and asked these questions, you're getting a representative sample of the overall state of Iowa. Otherwise, it's a weak poll. When we talk about sampling error, that means the larger the number of respondents, the lower that number is. So it tells us the accuracy or the validity of that particular poll. You want that number, the sampling error, or sometimes called the margin of error, to be a very low number. Usually it's plus or minus 2-3%. Gets up to plus or minus 10%, then we're in trouble. What that means is if it was plus or minus 10%, Clinton could be at 54%, meaning 44 plus 10, or 34%, 44 minus 10. That's a 20-point spread where she could be. That's a very inaccurate poll. So usually those numbers are relatively small, and the more people you talk to, the more valid the poll is. Question writing, you can write questions to be biased or unbiased. If I write the question, do you support Hillary Clinton for the Democratic nomination? That's a little biased. It's almost forcing you to say, yes, Hillary Clinton. It's not giving you the other options. A more valid question would be, who do you support in the 2016 election? Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and whoever else is running. Use of polls. There are many uses. One, it informs the public of who's winning, especially in a presidential race, Senate race, etc. It informs the candidates of where they stand. Scott Walker saw that he's polling low. He got out of the race. It informs office holders of issues when we do issue advocacy polling, whether or not the American people support or do not support a particular issue. So if there's a lot of support on an issue, it kind of forces members of Congress, the president, to support a particular issue. I will be right back with the second part. Peace.